welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new. In today's video, we are going to be setting up my budget for the first paycheck in the month of September. I'm pretty excited. Now we're going to go ahead and set up the first paycheck in the month of September here. The paycheck date is September 1st. I love it when the paycheck arrives at the start of the month. It just makes me happy. There's some symmetry to it. So this is going to be paycheck number 1. Of course, we don't talk about income here on my channel. My husband chooses to keep that exact numbers private. So the first category that we have here in the paycheck bill tracker is bills. And the way that I handle my budget is I put anything that is going to stay in my checking account and be used and be paid with my checking account or my debit card under bills. So all the rest of everything else, for the most part, gets taken right out of my bank account. Only thing that gets left in my bank account are these things that are under bills, and our extra debt gets paid through our checking account as well. Everything else comes out in cash. My cash envelopes, my sinking funds, and any extra savings comes out in cash. So hopefully that explains that. So I'm going to zoom you guys in a little bit, and we're going to start writing out what we have to leave in my checking account this week to take care of bills. And remember, I am doing my budget by the week, so I budget paycheck to paycheck, not by the month. So the bills and expenses that I'm going to be writing down here are just the bills and expenses that have to be paid between September 1st and September 8th when we get our next paycheck. So first things first, we have our grocery budget. Gotta eat, right? So I am going to budget $150 for groceries for my family of 4 for the week. Next up, we have household. So for a while there, I was doing my household spending with my Amazon credit card, and just I had Amazon Subscribe and Save to take care of all of my household items. I was finding that I was unnecessarily spending, and also I was finding that I was either forgetting to pay the balance on that Amazon card, because our Amazon card does carry a balance. We haven't paid it off yet, so it's not at 0 when we're using that card, or I was just neglecting to do it or whatever, and slowly but surely our Amazon credit card balance was going up. So I decided I was not going to have that, so I stopped doing the Amazon Subscribe and Save, and so now household items are being purchased at the same time as my groceries when I do my Walmart grocery pickup. I'm keeping it as a separate line item though, so that I can keep track of my spending for household items week to week, month to month, to try to get a better idea of what that spending is. So I'm going to budget $25 for household spending this week. That's down a little bit. I typically budget $30, but we're going to try out $25 and see how that goes. I may in the future make this household items a sinking fund, because I don't think that I necessarily spend the same amount every single week, but for now we're just gonna try it this way. The great thing about budgeting and personal finance is that you can change your mind and switch it up every single time you write a new budget. So that's that. Sorry about that, you guys. I just realized that my air conditioner was running. I usually try to remember to turn it off before I start filming so that you guys don't hear the background noise. I apologize. It's off now, so let's get through this before I start sweating to death. Okay, so that's grocery and household. Next up, we have lot rent. So if you are not familiar with me and my budget, we own our home. We are completely mortgage free, but we live in a mobile home. It's a very modest mobile home, and we don't own the land that it sits on. So we do rent the land. We live in a mobile home community, and so we do have to pay rent even though we own our home, and that is $510 a month. Next up, we have our cable. Our cable internet is due this week. We actually have cable TV as well. We are on a package that gives us cable TV as well as cable internet for cheaper than we could just get cable internet. Even though we don't really use the cable TV, it was just cheaper to have it. So we are going to budget $65 for that. Next up, we have water. When we pay our lot rent, we actually pay our lot rent, our cable, and our water all with one check. It's all through our mobile home community. But I like to break out the items because I like to see how the amounts fluctuate week to week, or rather month to month. Typically, this lot rent and this cable are fixed expenses, but our water fluctuates. And this month, we budget $50 for that. Usually it's a little bit less, but we've been watering our garden and whatnot, so $50 should cover it. Next up, we have Audible. My husband has an Audible membership. He loves to listen to audiobooks while he drives. He works in the plumbing.
2:30 p.m.
He works in the plumbing industry, and he drives a lot back and forth to residences and businesses to clear lines and take care of that. So he isn't a big fan of listening to music. He listens to audiobooks. So his Audible subscription helps him with that. And we're going to budget $15 for Audible. Lastly, we have Netflix. We have quite a few streaming services. Netflix is the one whose due date happens to fall in this first week of the month, and we are going to budget $17 for that. So that takes care of all of my expenses. I'm going to grab my phone and we're going to add these up. I apologize if you guys can hear my washing machine in the background. It's laundry day. So 150 plus 25 plus 510 plus 65 plus 50 plus 15 plus 17 is $832. So that is what I expect our bill total to be this week. Next up, we have our cash envelopes. These are the categories that we like to take cash out for, and this cash will get spent throughout the week. So the first category is my husband's spending money, and we're going to give him $40. Next up, we have my spending money, and I'm going to get $40 as well. We have gas. We like to take our gas money out in cash because if we don't use our entire gas budget throughout the week, we put that cash into a sinking fund and save it for a future week when we might need more gas. So I'm going to budget $50 for gas. We have miscellaneous, which is just sort of my buffer almost. There always comes something that I didn't plan for or I didn't anticipate. It also will cover any kind of overages that we might have if we go a little bit over budget in another category. We like to have a little bit of a buffer, so that is my miscellaneous category, and we do $50 for that. And lastly, we have eating out. Even though we are trying to pay off debt, we are not necessarily gazelle intense, as Dave Ramsey would say. We do still like to enjoy a meal out every once in a while, or every week, really. And so we budget that in at $50 a week. Which I know might seem a little bit high to some of you. Maybe to some of you it doesn't seem like much at all. But that's what's been working for us. I've tried lowering this and it just hasn't worked out. So we're going to stick with that $50. So let's go ahead and add this up. 40 plus 40 plus 50 plus 50 plus 50 is $230 for our cash envelopes. Next up, we have sinking funds. Sinking funds are small amounts of money that we save up throughout the year to pay a annual purchase or anything that we know is coming that we're trying to save for. We just sink a little bit of money into those funds a little bit at a time so that when those things inevitably come up, we don't have to take them out of our traditional budget. It's just savings that have a specific purpose in mind. So I'm only going to be funding 2 sinking funds this week. We have campground. We own a camper and we have to pay an annual campground fee to keep it on a campsite. And that fee is going to be due at the end of October. And we're actually a bit behind with that sinking fund, so I'm going to put $100 into that. Typically I would do a few of my categories every week, but some of the ones that I've been focusing on and I'm a little bit ahead on, like my Christmas fund, I'm going to skip out on funding for the next couple of weeks and try to catch up on this campground fund. And then the other fund we're going to fund this week is hunting. My husband is a hunter. Hunting season is coming in October, and that's another thing that we are saving for. So we're going to stick $50 into that, and that sinking fund will just cover his hunting licenses and any supplies that he needs. So that is $150 total in sinking funds this week. That is what I aim for. I try to put at least $150 into sinking funds every week. Sometimes it doesn't happen if we are, you know, a little bit lower on income that week, or if we have other things that we're trying to focus on, but that is the goal. Next, we have our extra debt. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know we're on a debt-free journey, hoping to have all of our debt paid off by the end of next year, or at least all of our credit cards paid off by the end of next year, as well as my truck. We probably won't have my camper paid off by then, but anyways, we've been on a debt-free journey. We have built up our snowball a little bit over the course of the year, and we now pay $150 a week towards the credit card that we're currently working on, which is a State Farm Visa card. If you're interested in hearing more about that journey, what that credit card total is, and all of that, I will link my Debt Snowball update video, my most recent one, in the cards above. So check that out. So that means that our extra debt total is $150. And lastly, we have extra savings. The way that I do extra savings is this is just extra money that I set aside to use on whatever I want. It differs from my sinking funds because I don't have a specific goal in mind. I just kind of save it and then use it for whatever, whether it be treating my family to something we've been wanting, or we could put it towards debt, or we could go out for a special dinner, or whatever it is. It's just extra savings. I stick it aside, and then whenever I find that we need a little bit of extra something, that's where I go. So we're going to put $50 into that. I did just use some of that money, so we're going to build that fund back up. So that's a look at my budget for the week. Easy peasy. I've been trying to keep my budgets super simple lately. I find that the simpler you can keep your budget, the less frustrating and less tedious it is to check in with it. So that's a look at where all of my money is going to go this week. The last thing I have to do is the cash envelope breakdown, which is the other worksheet from the Budget by Paycheck workbook that I use. I will take all of the categories that we need to pull cash for down, as well as their amounts, and then we'll break down what denominations I want to take out of the bank. So really quickly, I'm going to write in the categories and the amounts, and then I'll come back and we'll do the cash breakdown together. Alright, so I filled in my amounts as well as the total. I need to pull $430 out of the bank this week. Now let's find out what denominations I'm going to take. So for my husband's spending, I want $40. We're going to do 2 20s for that. My spending is also $40, and we're also going to do 2 20s for that. For gas, we're going to do $50. We're going to do 2 20s and a 10. Miscellaneous is also going to be $50, 2 20s and a 10. Eating out is $50, but we're going to break that down a little bit more. So we're going to do 2 20s, a 10, a 5, and 5 1s. For campground, we need a $100 bill. For hunting, it's $50, so we'll do a $50 bill. And savings is also $50. We'll do a $50 bill for that. So now all that's left is just to count these up. So we're going to do 5 ones, which is $5. 1 5, which is $5. 1 2 3 10s, which is $30. 2 4 6 8 10 20s, which is $200. 2 50s, which is $100, and 1 100, which is $100. So I'm going to grab my calculator and add these denominations up. So we have 5 plus 5 plus 30 plus 200 plus 100 plus 100 is 440. What did I do? What did I add wrong here? Five ones is 5, 1 5 is 5, 10, 20, 30, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. I don't know where this extra $10 is coming from. Oh, yes I do. So that should be 120 and 2 10s, not 2 20s and 1 10. So this is where I made my mistake. That's why I always use erasable pen. So we're going to do 9 20s at $180 and 4 10s at $40. Now let's try and add that up again and see if it matches. And that's 430, so that's right. That's why I always use erasable pen, you guys. So now I'm going to transfer this information onto one of my bank teller sticky notes so that I can just hand this right to my bank teller and get the cash that I need. So I will just go to the bank and pull out this $430, and I will be back on Friday with my cash envelope stuffing. So that's it, you guys. That is a look at the first paycheck in the month of September and my budget. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a big thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe so that you never miss a video, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye!